Good afternoon, Colorado. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of What's for Lunch. I'm your host, Larry Hers. I know your eyes are not deceiving you. You are not having deja vu. We have Jared Leonard back in the studio today. Welcome, buddy.
How you doing?
So yesterday you were here with Budlong, and today you're here with AJ's. Give us a little history of AJ's.
So AJ's is my passion project. This is smoked barbecue, Texas style. I grew up cooking with hard fuel, charcoal and wood, grilling, cooking outside, and then in my 20s, I was always dating a girl from Texas. So, and then I married a Canadian, so I went the other way. But the Texas, I love food in Texas, culture in Texas. I love the city of Austin, Texas. So I developed this passion for Texas-style smoked barbecue.
Which define that? What does that mean?
So Texas-style, I think the biggest defining factor for true Southern smoked barbecue, not just Texas, is an all-wood fire. All of my smokers only use wood. We don't cook with gas or electricity. I don't have thermostats on my pits. We do it the old-fashioned way.
Okay.
So we've got an offset pit behind the restaurant, and we've got another offset pit inside the restaurant. That means the fire's offset to where you're cooking to keep the temperature nice and low, as opposed to a direct heat cooker like a grill. We cook at higher temperature. So we bring post oak in from Texas. So we cook with the traditional fuel of Central Texas. And that really defines that, and the holy trinity of Texas barbecue is beef ribs, brisket, and sausage.
Okay.
So we serve those on our menu. Everything, again, all wood smoked. Overnight we cook our brisket for about 16 hours. So
Wow.
sauce on the side. Again, real Texas barbecue doesn't need barbecue sauce.
Okay.
Barbecue sauce is a condiment.
Yeah.
We make 4 sauces. I have a Carolina style sauce. Sauce is great. I love sauce, but there's an old legend that sauce was invented in the Middle Ages so that the servants would fool the king so that he wouldn't know that the meat had spoiled or that they hadn't cooked it correctly. So they developed these sugary sauces to coat the meat with to cover up that spoilage taste. And
Makes sense.
I think it's the same. I don't think we've
you
come
don't
far
put-
from that. I think
You don't
that
put
if
sauce on your barbecue when you eat it.
We don't. Well, I use it as a dipping condiment. It's
Okay.
there, and I
But
don't
not
mind
just
it.
not glazed on it.
I don't glaze it on there. I don't cook it
Okay.
on there. And I'm not saying that's wrong. There's a lot of different ways to do barbecue, and I'm not saying mine's the right way. But this is how Texas-style barbecue is done, and this is traditional, good Southern barbecue, dry rubbed, smoked over a wood fire.
When did AJ's open?
So AJ's opened in 2017.
Okay. And
So
where's
now-
it located?
So, and I paused on that because we had an original location
You
in
moved.
Chicago. Right,
Oh.
so I've been doing barbecue for about a dozen years.
Okay.
Originally we had Rub Barbecue Company that turned into Rub's Backcountry Smokehouse that turned into Barbecue Supply Company because I had a store that sold barbecue supplies and I taught barbecue cooking classes next to my restaurant in Chicago. And then when we moved out here, this is a brand really born from my wife and I's passion for hospitality. So it turned into AJ's, Amanda and Jared's Pit Barbecue.
And where are you located?
We're located at 2180 South Delaware. That's in the Overland Park neighborhood of Denver, south side of Denver.
It's kind of right by Broadway and Evans?
Broadway and Evans, so
Yeah.
we're right across from the Evans light rail station.
Yeah, it's
Can't
a really,
miss it.
really neat building that you got there. Is it an old house?
No, that's an old warehouse.
warehouse?
So it was a machine shop, and when we took it over,
What
they
made
were-
What made you choose that location? Because it's very off the beaten path.
Yeah, this is a weird story. So I moved out here to do restaurants, but more like to do Budlong restaurants and other scalable concepts. I was living in Chicago. We took over that space to be a commissary. It's very, very industrial feeling, and it's in an industrial neighborhood. They had 3 walk-in coolers and a hood.
Oh.
And they were making burritos in there, and the guy before them was making pizzas, and before that it was a machine shop. So it's very industrial feeling,
Okay.
which is that's how barbecue is in Texas. You find an old garage, an old warehouse. You throw your smoker
yeah.
outside. All the dining is outside. We have a big patio.
Yeah, you
back
wouldn't want
at
something
AJ's.
fancy.
No, it's
Would
very.
not go.
And then I brought all my stuff from Chicago. I've got this old bourbon tasting bar that I pulled out of an antique store in Kentucky that was in my Chicago store that came out here. Pit barbecue sign in front that I repurposed out of a barn in Macon, Missouri that was in my Chicago store. So there's a lot of things in that store. On the wall, you'll see pictures of me with Famous Dave, me with Aaron Franklin, me with all the barbecue industry guys that have been
Okay.
doing this the right way for years, and we just have a passion for what we do.
You brought a lot of food, so let's get into all the different things you brought. What do you want to start with, meat or sides?
Let's do meat. That's
Okay.
the meat is the focus of the menu. Our sides are great, but so meat. See all this dark color on the outside? It's
try and
that's
put it here. Can you
that's
get
the
that?
bark of the meat. So what that is the spice rubs, and there's some sugar in our spice rub that caramelizes and cooks and turns dark over that long cooking process.
So what's up front here?
So we've got brisket in the front. We've got smoked turkey. We don't do turkey one day a year. We do it 365 days a year, and it's one of our top sellers. It's a breast, and we slow smoke it, and it's just buttery and delicious. We've got pastrami. This pastrami was developed for our Ofu Montreal smoked meat concept. It's just terrific.
I've had that. It's phenomenal.
It's really like if you think pastrami is a deli meat, you haven't had the right pastrami. Yeah. Old school pastrami at Cat's Deli or old school Montreal smoked meat at any of the at Schwartz Deli up in Montreal, they all serve hot pastrami that has been taken out of a smoker and has a wood smoked flavor to it, and they hand cut it so it's thick.
People here don't know about pastrami.
No, it's like it's a thin deli meat in a lot of places, and that's not how it is in traditional old school butcher shops or barbecue places that do it well. So to continue on that, we've got some local flavor here. These are from Brush, Colorado. These are our spare ribs, pork spare ribs. The pigs come from Brush, Colorado, from a farm called McDonald Farms. And we started using them when like old McDonald, right? The great hogs, and their ribs are super fatty. This pork spare rib is really like the crown jewel of ribs. You hear a lot about baby back ribs. No, that's not what you do in barbecue. Good barbecue ribs are fatty. Again, we don't need to add sauce to these ribs. The spare rib comes from the belly of the animal, so it's got a little bit of that pork belly on the spare rib. Nice. So it's nice and juicy. 14 ingredient dry rub on those pork spare ribs. Then we move over here to the beef rib. This is one rib, which people are blown away by, because when they think of ribs, they think of pork ribs, and they're going, is that because it's like $26 for a rib? Sure. And you're used to buying pork ribs by the slab. Well, one rib off of a cow, just think about it in your head for a minute, right? Cows and pigs, different size. The cow is a huge animal, right? So we have this huge beef rib that we slice up fresh. We've got a pork sausage underneath. This is a Czechoslovakian-style hot gut sausage made just for us, custom by McKeska Sausages down in Texas. Tim McKeska's family has been called the first family of Texas barbecue. They've been around since the 30s, I think, and before that, they were doing sausage in Czechoslovakia. Central Texas is populated by a lot of Czech and German immigrants, so a lot of the old world butchering techniques came over from the old country into Central Texas. So that hot gut sausage is a mixture of pork and a little bit of beef and some jalapeno and some cheddar in there.
Oh, I'm anxious to try that.
Yeah.
That's it for the meat, right?
Yeah, and then we got some Texas toast with it. You always serve white bread with your barbecue.
Let's go on to the sides.
So our sides are all unique. We've got our pit beans. So we make fresh barbecue every day. We try to sell out, but we've always got a few things left. Sure. And so that scrap meat or stuff from the cut board that just didn't look pretty enough to put on a plate goes into our beans. So those beans are like 2-to-1 ratio of baked beans and smoked meat. So they're really smoky, really hearty, like a really good chili. So big chunks of meat in there. That looks like it's probably a burnt end. I don't think you put any burnt ends in there today. Or a chunk of pastrami or something. But we've got our coleslaw. That coleslaw, again, fresh vegetables, all shredded, house-made dressing, made the right way, nothing coming out of a bag. We've got our deviled egg potato salad. This came along, a chef who was working for me I told him, I said, I want to put deviled eggs on the menu. I always loved deviled eggs. It was a thing my family made at all of our barbecues. But they're a lot of work, and you've got to charge a buck an egg, $1.50 an egg.
People are like,
yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? Because we eat these at Grandma's house. Why are they $1.50 each? So he said, why don't we fold the deviled eggs into a potato salad? That way the labor isn't there, but the same flavor composition is there, and it combines two of my favorite dishes, Brilliant. Potato salad and deviled eggs. Custard-filled cornbread. That's something truly unique to our restaurant. I don't know anybody else who does that or sells that.
In my life.
It's got a heavy cream custard baked into the center of it. So whole kernels of corn, obviously a traditional cornbread with yellow cornmeal flour, all those ingredients. But the key to that dish is that creamy center. You don't need to put butter on that cornbread. And by that, I'm not saying it's better for you. It's got a layer of heavy cream custard in the center of it. But it's a really unique dish that came out of an old cookbook called the Fanny Farmer Cookbook. It's like a 100-year-old cookbook. It has great, that's my style of cooking, good home cooking. We cooked in my house every single meal, and it wasn't fancy, but it was always homemade, and it was from scratch, and it was, in my original restaurant, we had wallpaper in the restaurant that was made of all my grandmother's old recipe cards, like the little handwritten ones. Yeah, it said at the top, from the kitchen of Doreen, and then like there was notes on it, like if Steve's coming over, don't add onions, and old cookbooks that were published by like women's church groups, and like that's the style of cooking that I like, just good family cooking. A lot of it is southern, but not exclusive to the southern part of the country, just good old-fashioned family eating.
And then a little bit of dessert. I've had your banana pudding.
So that's our banana pudding. You know, it has lady fingers on the top of it right now. We just started making our own shortbread cookies for that. Traditional Southern banana pudding has vanilla wafers in it. We always wanted to be a little bit different and have our twist on it. First of all, try it. And, that's different than a traditional banana pudding.
Yeah.
I won't tell you everything that's in it, but it's delicious. It's the best one you'll ever have.
Oh, I've had
And
it.
I don't use. We talked about that yesterday. I don't like to use the word best. I literally have never had a better banana pudding. The cookie is something we've changed a couple of times, but the pudding itself, it's a vanilla pudding with fresh bananas in it. That's what banana pudding is. A lot of people think it's a flavored banana pudding, but it's actually vanilla pudding, some other ingredients. There's cream cheese in there that makes it really rich, and then fresh bananas sliced inside.
All right. Now you're going to slice me some meat?
Yeah, so we're going to slice up some brisket.
Yeah, baby.
So our brisket, I didn't bring a knife. I told you I could cut it with a spoon. It's so tender.
And with the brisket, there's a fatty end, right? And
Yeah,
a lean end.
so this is the point of the brisket. And guys in competitions like to do this where they hold it over their finger. And I sliced that a little bit thick, but it really should droop over like that so you can tell that it's nice and tender, but it's juicy and it's not falling apart. If you start to cut your brisket and it just shreds apart like pulled pork, it's probably a little bit overcooked.
Okay.
So even on the fattier side, it's super, super tender. And you can see I can pull it apart without much effort. It's very, very tender. But if I hold it up and down like that, it doesn't fall apart. If it's falling apart, it's overcooked.
Okay.
And if it's dry, I don't need to tell you that's not good.
I've seen dry. What are your hours these days?
We're open 11 to 8 every day except for Monday. Mondays we clean the smokers, we do some prep, but we'll probably never be open 7 days at that place. That's a one-off concept. We'll never have multiples. It's a passion project that it'll be wherever I'm living, which for the foreseeable future is Colorado. I don't see myself leaving anytime soon, and so AJ's will be there. I'm trying to buy the building from the owner, and we'll be there, I don't know, for decades. I hope my kids have that restaurant.
I don't remember a patio there, so where is it?
Big patio in back.
Oh, I didn't go to
So
the back.
yeah, so in back we've got a big patio, outdoor eating.
So still open for outdoor dining?
No, I mean sure if you want to sit
somebody-
out there, it's just we're not really servicing the patio,
Okay.
but there's seats out there. We do a lot of to-go food though, so we're kind of waiting it out just like everybody else. Right now we're doing a ton of to-go food. Like it's blowing my mind how much.
That's what's great about barbecue is it travels.
It travels well. It's better fresh straight out of the smoker, but it's nice. You get yourself a nice half pan of food. You eat some of it with your fingers as you're driving. It's not a dish you have to eat start to finish in one sitting.
Are you doing? Are you with any third party doing deliveries?
We don't do. We do Uber Eats, and we're thinking about onboarding. We sell so much meat at the restaurant. In the experience when you come to AJ's is part of what is charming about the place. I mean, the food's terrific, but everything you feel when you go in there, even when you can't eat in there, from the old-fashioned bar up front, we play vinyl records in there. Like the people that work there are genuinely happy to work there and friendly and want to see you. It is not your typical restaurant. So we want people to come in and experience the store, even if it's for takeout.
Closed tomorrow?
No, well, technically you can't order any more turkey.
Okay, can't order. That's what I was getting at.
We're turkeyed out.
Turkeyed out.
Today we have turkey breast. We cooked a bunch of extra turkey breast today on accident. Long story, but that's just what happened. So today, if you want turkey breast, sliced turkey breast by the pound is available today. Tomorrow it's all pre-orders, and we're already sold out of everything we're doing. So we're doing whole turkeys, we're doing smashed potatoes, we're doing bourbon pumpkin pies. All good things.
Well, here comes the favorite part of the show, where we get to eat.
All right, I love it.
Happy Thanksgiving. Good to see you 2 days in a row. I appreciate you coming in after stalking you for about a year.
Hey, I'm happy to come back.
In.
Yeah, I'll bring some pizza one day.
Yeah, Grabowski's next.
Yeah.
He's got a pizza place too, as if he's not busy enough. I'd love to. I've had Grabowski's, but I haven't had him on the show. We won't see you till Monday. Happy Thanksgiving.
Cheers.
Let's eat. Dude, holy fuck, that's so good.